In this video, we're diving into a showdown between the 2024 Kawasaki ZX-6R, the last of its kind, and the CBR650R. Although these two sport bikes share an inline-4 engine setup and 600cc-ish displacement, they were actually built for very different purposes. So what sets them apart, and which one should you get? In terms of horsepower output, the ZX-6R takes the lead, with an impressive 124 horsepower on the crank, the highest among 600cc supersport, while the CBR650R only puts out a modest 95 horsepower. When it comes to torque, the Ninja comes out ahead once again, delivering 69 Nm of torque, which is 6 more than the CBR. The reason why the ZX-6R has much higher power output, despite the same inline-4 setup and similar displacement, is because it's engineered to be racetrack-focused, with a high-revving engine and strong top-end grunt. While the CBR650R is built for versatility, straddling the line between sportiness and everyday practicality. It might have less power, but it compensates with smooth and linear power delivery across the rev range and a street-friendly power band, making it ideal for everyday commuting and maybe an occasional track day. While the ZX-6R's power is concentrated in the upper rev range, providing higher power output, but it needs to be pushed and revved more to unleash its true and full potential, which makes it a better and more dominant bike on the racetrack, but less so as a commuter. Moving on to weight, the ZX-6R weighs 198 kilograms, which is 10 kilo less than the CBR. The ZX-6R is built with lightweight, agility, and nimbleness in mind, equipped with lighter material at the expense of a higher price tag. With its lower weight and significantly higher horsepower, the ZX-6R obviously has a higher power-to-weight ratio, a whopping 37% advantage over the CBR. As for the powertrain, both are powered by an inline-4 engine setup. The CBR boasts 649cc displacement, slightly larger than the ZX by 13cc. They share an oversquare or short-stroke layout, with identical bore sizes, but the CBR has a slightly longer stroke and a smaller bore-to-stroke ratio. Although there are similarities between them, they are actually built differently because of their different purposes. The performance-oriented ZX-6R has a more aggressive cam profile, stronger and lighter materials, a different intake and exhaust setup, fuel mapping, and a higher compression ratio that help it achieve higher power output, focusing on top-end power, where track-oriented bikes like the ZX-6R shine the most. On the other hand, the CBR is built to be more streetable, with more torque at lower RPM and linear power delivery, trying to achieve decent power while keeping costs down. Both bikes have double overhead cams, with 4 valves per cylinder, and a 6-speed wet multiplate clutch with assist and slipper clutch, but the race-oriented ZX-6R comes with a cassette-style gearbox that can be removed and installed as a unit without having to pull the engine apart, so changing gear ratios can be done faster and easier. Just like a cassette, you can pull out the gearbox and insert another gearbox with different ratios in it. As for the price, the ZX-6R comes in at $12,299 for the ABS version, while the CBR650R at $9,899, which is $2,400, or roughly 20% less expensive. Additionally, Kawasaki offers a non-ABS ZX-6R variant with different colorways, priced at a more affordable $11,299, a $1,000 reduction from the ABS model. In terms of features, both bikes are equipped with standard dual-channel ABS brakes, with no cornering or lean-sensitive ABS due to the absence of an IMU. They also stick to the traditional cable-activated throttle, so no ride-by-wire. Although the ZX-6R gets 4 power modes that are integrated with the traction control, so choosing one of the 4 power modes automatically sets a predetermined traction control setting. While on the other hand, the CBR only has traction control, or what Honda calls HSTC, that can only be turned on and off, offering no adjustability level settings. Quick shifter without auto blipper is a standard feature on the ZX-6R, while it's optional on the CBR. The ZX-6R comes with a 4.3-inch TFT display that can be connected to your smartphone through the Radiology app via Bluetooth, while the CBR gets a budget-friendly, negative LCD display with no smartphone connectivity. . Moving on to chassis and dimensions, as for the frame, the CBR gets a perimeter or twin spar frame, made with cost-effective and budget-friendly high-tensile steel. While for the ZX-6R, although it comes with the same type of perimeter frame, it has a very different design and material, using pressed aluminum material, and is built with a focus on compactness, rigidity, and weight, instead of cost. For the front suspension, the CBR is fitted with a budget-friendly, non-adjustable 41mm upside-down Showa SFF-BP, or separate function fork, big piston, where one fork houses the spring and preload, while the other fork houses the damper. On the other hand, the ZX-6R gets the same type of fork with the same diameter, but has fully adjustable capability, which is very handy in racing or track days, or maybe if you have a not-so-average rider weight, where the stock factory tuning can't do the job properly. The same thing goes for the rear shock, where the CBR gets a basic linked monoshock that can only be dialed for preload, while the ZX-6R comes with a fully adjustable Showa gas-charged monoshock with piggyback reservoir, which is capable of maintaining the same performance and damping characteristics under heavy use, such as racing. For stopping power, they are equipped with 4-piston radial mount Nissan calipers that bite on the same 310mm disc brakes diameter. The ZX-6R has a 50mm shorter wheelbase than the CBR, and for the tires, both have identical tire specs, 180mm width for the rear and 120mm on the front. In terms of fuel capacity, the Ninja has a bigger fuel tank than the CBR by 1.6 liters. And for the consumption, based on the claimed fuel consumption numbers provided by Honda and Kawasaki, the ZX-6R is gulping more fuel per 100 kilometers than the CBR by roughly 20% more. The more sporty ZX-6R has a 20mm higher seat height than the CBR, and for the width, the CBR has a 40mm wider width, probably due to its more splayed-out handlebar. In terms of riding position, the track-focused ZX-6R obviously has a more aggressive riding position, with a farther and lower position clip-on bar and high-mounted pegs, while the CBR650R, which is classified as a sport tourer, has a more upright and comfortable riding position. It still maintains a sporty feel, but compared to the ZX-6R, the CBR feels more roomy, less cramped, and committed.
Yeah.